hormonal imbalance, acidity, as well as chronic inflammation. Those three things are really the cocktail of fueling fibroids.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Consciousness with Sharika. My name is Sharika Swaby. I am also known as the Mind Reset Strategist. I am a certified life coach, and I specialize in mental wellness and spiritual alignment. Right? So my guest today is an amazing woman, and she's a nurse, a personal trainer, and a womb wellness coach. Now, why woman wellness? Well, she has had her own journey of dealing with fibroids, and that's what we're going to talk about here today. And I'm going to allow her to tell you her story. Phyllis, welcome to Becoming Consciousness with Sharika. It's such an amazing pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate it. And I'm so grateful to be here with you, Sharika, on your platform. And thanks, Dr. Wanda and Glam Lux. So glad to see you all here in the audience. Thank you.
Alrighty, so let's jump right into it. And you're very welcome. So the first thing I want to know is, for relatability purposes, I like to ask my guests to tell us a little bit about their own journey. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about me, as you just said graciously and wonderfully. My name is Phyllis. As one that has dealt with uterine fibroids through the challenges and being able to turn the pain and suffering with fibroids into purpose and power has been a rewarding journey. And over the years, I also struggled with my own weight issues. And like many women, I too was plagued by the symptoms of uterine fibroids. I went from being a burnt out nurse to dropping 30 pounds and competing on stage as a bodybuilder, and later shrinking and eliminating fibroids. So I did this naturally, and I created this unique formula where I coach others on the right tools to eliminate symptoms for lasting results. As we know, the standard management of managing uterine fibroids is a pill or a surgery, but really getting to the root of the issue. So it's not where you're presented with this again, right? You're dealing with other things that are going wrong with your body where it's not functioning as a whole. So whether you're looking to eliminate fibroids, get back in shape, shrink fibroids, get rid of symptoms, I can help you with that. And it's more about really tapping into something deeper than just a physical thing of, you know what, let's just take the fibroids out. We can see it on the scan, MRI, let's just take it out. It's something deeper that's feeding this havoc in your body. And I know we're going to go through my story, but I really want to emphasize on how this is preventable, right? It's like, what are fibroids? They are abnormal growths that appear on the uterus. For this conversation, they can actually grow in different areas in the body, but for this conversation, we're going to focus on the uterus. And as I go into my story, I want you to really tune in to connect the dots. And you're listening right now. You're dealing with fibroids. As you know, 1 out of 8 women in your life will or have uterine fibroids. So share this video. The more we women can educate ourselves and really reevaluate the beliefs that we've been told up until this point, the more we can grow and elevate. So share this video. And I want to pass it back to you, Sharika, just to kind of go into me sharing my story. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. I can tell that you are very passionate about
yes, and I have a lot to
absolutely
say.
I know.
I was like,
okay,
someone stop me.
yeah, let's see how much of that we can get out of you. So at what
Yes.
point did you realize, I know you were a nurse and you were overweight and all of that, but at what point did you realize that you had fibroids, and what did they recommend at that point when you found out that you had fibroids?
Such a powerful question. Those that are listening, Jennifer, Stephanie, Maxwell, get your notes out, right? Because I want you to really just listen on how a lot of this is like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle piece to how I was very young when I witnessed my mom go through the pain and suffering with uterine fibroids. Yes. So as a young child, I would constantly see her in the bathroom, hunched over, and we constantly ran out of toilet paper. And I would always wonder, like, what's going on with the toilet paper? But not knowing she was actually using that to help patch on her pads to, due to the heavy flow. So these are the symptoms, primal symptoms of uterine fibroids. Write this down. Number one is heavy flow. Pain, fatigue, bloating. Those are usually the primal symptoms. So being able to witness my mom go through that, and I always asked her, what's wrong? Why are you in so much pain? Why are you so angry? Stephanie can relate. Thanks for sharing, Stephanie. And she would always brush me off. I was raised in an African household, so I know there was a sense of pride within her. She always said, oh, you wouldn't understand. You're too young. Don't worry about it. So as a child, 7, 8 years old, I'm in the milestone of emotional development, independence. So getting that feedback from my mom and not being able to help her really took a dabber at my confidence at such a young child. So that was my manual. That was my operating manual of how to be a woman. Pain, stress, bloating, uncomfortable fibroids. So I had that vision of what it's like to be a woman. And that's not good, because that cultivated my growth from there on. So I realized later that she ended up getting a hysterectomy. Okay. So my mom got her feminine parts removed, and she was told by the doctor to do so. And she only had small fibroids at the time. Fibroids were very small, but the doctor suggested a hysterectomy. And 1 out of 5 women will get a hysterectomy that's completely unnecessary. Unnecessary. So over 600,000 hysterectomies happen a year in the US. And that means that every minute a woman's getting a hysterectomy that's unnecessary for the most part, right? So I know that to this day she's doing well, right? I know back then she did complain of some hot flashes. She was very moody as a residual of getting a hysterectomy. I know that she dealt with the doctors telling her she needed to be on some type of estrogen replacement, and that gave her horrible side effects. So for the most part, she's doing well. But who else knows what is her baseline from getting that hysterectomy to now? So fast forward, right? Energetic connection that I witnessed with my mom, that never left me. I literally carried that weight of her pain, suffering, as we're all made of energy, and energy transfers, it never destroys. So I carried that weight until I got into nursing school, not only to realize I was experiencing the same symptoms, right? Heavy flow. I remember going through 7, 8 pads on my heavy days, periods as long as 10 days, right? Fatigue, bloating, back pain, urinary frequency. So in nursing school, I told my doctor about these symptoms that I was having, and I told her that I know that I have fibroids. I knew before even getting an ultrasound that I was also having some symptoms of fibroids. So, women, y'all listening right now, we are innately born with womb intelligence. We're born with womb wisdom, intuition, right? So these elements are within us, right? And it takes effort to tap into those elements. And I was able to do that at that time, to know that I also had fibroids. And most would say, oh, your mom had fibroids, so that's why you have fibroids. You know, that is no longer a thing. That's just an excuse, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, my mom had fibroids, and I was predispositioned to get fibroids, but not predetermined, as 95% of your lifestyle determines the risk of disease. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity for me to realize that I can change my behaviors, I can change my thoughts, my actions, but I did not know that back then, as we're not given an operation manual of how
Right.
to, you know, be a
Yeah.
woman with our hormones in this environment. Yes, S is golden. Hey, love. We got the men in here. Oh my God, this is just amazing to see men here that care
Yeah,
for their
showing up.
women. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
definitely.
As son-in-law,
Definitely.
I see you. Yes, see a lot of my peeps over here. So knowing that I was dealing with those symptoms, I requested the doctor to give me an ultrasound. So if you know that something's not right, don't suppress it. You're not crazy, right? You know what's going on with your body. Speak
Were
up. So
you
that's what I did.
were
Go ahead.
were you overweight at that time as well, or you were just normal size, or were you experiencing weight issues?
I would say I was normal size, but I was not a healthy eater.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
I ate a lot of starches, African food. I was just mindlessly eating back then. But to answer your question, no, I was not per se overweight till later. So
Okay.
great question.
What
Yeah.
did the doctor recommend that you do when after the ultrasound came back positive that you did have fibroids?
Yeah. So the doctor was like, just monitor it. She said that
Hmm.
the symptoms I'm having is just part of being a woman. And that is not true. We are not supposed to be in pain and suffering when our cycles
Mm,
come. I'm actually on my cycle right now and I feel great. This is the
yeah.
feeling we should have being on our periods, feeling
Hmm.
amazing, feeling connected.
Yeah.
And I feel connected with you all here as I'm talking with you. And it took me some time to get here. And I want to go through how I got here, because the doctor said to just monitor it, watch it, and no education on how to prevent this from getting worse. No education on stress. No questions were asked by the doctor about my life outside of this doctor's appointment, right? You know, what am I eating? Like you just asked me, Sharika. No, none of that. She just sent me on my way and I left. So after nursing school, I was 30 pounds heavier. So Sharika, all that African food and that mindless eating definitely added up. So I was about 30, 35 pounds overweight when I graduated nursing school. And I was told by the doctor that I would be on high cholesterol medication for the rest of my life. I was like, no. So I waited till something happened. And once I was told that, I was like, I got to do something. I need to get this weight off. So I ended up joining a gym. And Sharika, talk about divine connections, right? Mommy 0510, Shema Jones, talk about divine connections. I ran into a bodybuilding coach. So my efforts weren't to compete on stage. I just wanted the help to lose the weight. I needed a plan. I needed some guidance, because what I was doing at the gym wasn't enough. So I ended up joining her program to not only lose the weight, but compete on stage. And that took me out of my comfort zone. That allowed me to reevaluate my belief system and also my self-worth, because I was like, I can't compete on stage. Look at me. I mean, how am I going to compete in a swimsuit on stage? So Sharika, oh my God, t-shirt queen, I had to really tap in and say, you know what? I can do this. I'm not going to be on pills for the rest of my life. I can do it. And I ended up joining her program, after about 3 months, I not only lost the weight, but I was on stage competing in the figure division, and later did bikini and felt like a superstar. I mean, I was like totally in awe that going from this point to that point actually can happen. So that's when my belief system really changed on the miracles of the body and what the body can do
before
if you
you,
believe.
I was actually just looking at watching something with Cam Billiou, and he was talking about that. But before you
Yes.
continue, how heavy were you at your highest?
About almost 170
Okay.
pounds. Yeah.
And how much do you weigh now, if you know?
Yeah, absolutely. 125.
Okay, do you mind giving the people a stand up? Because this video only, it comes off of Instagram, it goes on YouTube, and it goes all around the place. So I want people to be able to see what's possible if you're dedicated. Right, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, you can sit back down and then you can continue with your story. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yes. I love that, Sharika, because we need to see, right? We're living on we're living in a society now where, you got to use your eyes versus the mind and be able to experience otherwise. But once you see and you start to really tap in, it can help you reevaluate your belief system. Essence Golding is laughing. I love your energy. Thank you. So I
So you were at
competed.
bodybuilding.
Yes. Yeah, I was doing that. And Sharika, I loved it so much that I decided to become a personal trainer. I was like, I want to help other people lose
Do
weight
this.
and come. Yeah, like if I can do it, other people can do it. So I became a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So follow me, y'all. Y'all writing, you're taking notes, right? Let's start connecting the dots about stress and what that plays in development of not only fibroids, but heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes. So I was so superwoman that I thought that I can not only be a nurse, because I was working the night shift, but a personal trainer, and then competing on stage. So after a while of doing that, it was no longer fun. I felt like I had to really conform to this personal identity of being this strong Black woman that can do everything. Be every woman, be everywhere, help this person, help that person. I wanted to help people more than they wanted to help themselves, as very early on, I could not help my mom, So that energy really stuck with me. So I really placed a lot of expectations on myself that were just not attainable for a human, right? I mean, I was thinking I was a robot trying to do the things that I was trying to do. So after about 8 years of competing, Sharika and Sweet Debbie and Kenyon, I started to become just emotionally crazy, I would say. On top of the supplements that I was taking to compete on stage, on top of the lack of sleep, uh, on top of the stimulants I was taking to be able to do everything I was doing, I was literally becoming insane. And my emotions were unstable. I started to do a lot of self-sabotage. As competing on stage, you're judged by primarily white men. So I was constantly judged on stage. Oh, your booty's too big. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. Oh, you don't, you're not small enough. So after years and years of hearing that, you start to believe those thoughts.
I can see that. I can see how that would happen.
Yeah. And those thoughts start to become the way that your body works internally, right? Because whatever you speak to yourself, your thoughts, your cells are listening. And fibroids are made of fake cells, like fake people. That's what makes fibroids, fake cells. So if you think about how your environment is a reflection of how your body is going to work internally, you can make sense to say that I was literally making myself sick. So after 8 years of that toxic environment of competing, I decided to leave the bodybuilding industry. And the diet that I consumed during that time was a lot of meat, right? Heavy meat intake, because I was told by my coach, you know, you have to eat protein from animal sources every meal, 5-6 times a day. So I was taking in a lot of acidity. Secondly, I was eating 6 times a day. So it really did not allow my digestive system to rest. So I'm constantly putting my insides on overdrive. Think about my thought process. There's no time for circulation to be, you know, infused in this area. Think about my uterus, having a cold uterus because there was no attention brought to that because I was so stressed out. So my adrenals, different areas in your body start to become overworked, especially your liver. Your liver is a powerhouse of metabolizing all the hormones, including estrogen. They say estrogen dominance is the root cause of fibroids, but it's not just that. If one hormone is off, other hormones are off, right? And write this down. 3 things that you want to know when it comes to the root of fibroids. It's not just estrogen dominance. You know, there's a thing called distraction, and there's a lot of medical language, jargon, things you look up on the internet that is distracting us from what the real issue is. And hormonal imbalance, acidity, as well as chronic inflammation, those 3 things are really the cocktail of fueling fibroids. And it stems from not just what you're eating, how you think. I just share with you my story of the bodybuilding industry. How energy, you know, carrying my mom's pain, right? Physical activity. So let me move on. So I left the bodybuilding industry, right? And y'all wouldn't believe this. It wasn't even a year. So I went from this fit body, like sculpted, abs, everything. Within a year, I looked 6 months pregnant. Only a year. And so the small fibroid that the doctor told me to just ignore and just keep going on with life, I straight up did that. And that fibroid was still there. It was a reminder that, Phyllis, there's something going on, but I didn't listen to it. And here we are 8 years later. It grew into not only that fibroid, I had a total of 4. And the largest one was the size of a grapefruit. Whoa. So, yes. And I didn't realize that until I took a picture with some friends. And we went out, and then I was like, I finally started to connect the dots and say, oh my God, what happened to my abs? I look pregnant. I mean, it happened so fast. I was so unaware of it. And it just shows how this has been brewing, but I've been so disconnected with my life through social media, people, my parents. Oh, you have to get married. You have to do this. You know, people try to run your life and you allow them to, and you lose yourself. So I literally lost who I was. And it wasn't until I went back to get that ultrasound and the doctor told me that they have progressed to that size. So he immediately, and this is the doctor, he immediately went into what I needed to do as far as a myomectomy. And for those listening, that's usually the standard way of dealing with fibroids is a myomectomy, where they go in, they cut, you know, open you up and literally go and cut the fibroids off your uterus. So considering that there is something in your body that is not allowing your systems to function appropriately, going in and just taking the fibroids from the uterus or removing them, it's not going to prevent new fibroids from growing. So the doctor was explaining me, you know, this is your options: myomectomy, hysterectomy, birth control, whatever. And I had to really tap into my womb intelligence, my womb intuition, and say, because I had so many emotions going in my body. I was so shocked. I was like, man, how can I let this happen? And I was so disturbed about how the doctor just randomly went into my treatment options and give me a chance to just process what was going on. It was just like, this is what you need to do. You need to do this, you need to do that. And I asked the doctor, what causes fibroids? Like, how did I, what did I do so wrong to be in this position? I help people. What did I do? And the doctor was like, oh, your mom had it. It's just something you have to deal with as a Black woman. So when the doctor said that, that immediately took me somewhere else. And I said, so you don't know what causes fibroids? He's like, no, no one knows. It's just something you have to deal with. And then he proceeded to tell me that if I were to get a myomectomy, that he can guarantee me, I started to feel like I was at a car dealership. He can guarantee me that fibroids will not grow back. I was like, but you just said you don't know what causes them. How can you tell me that if I go through with this surgery that they're not going to grow back again and I'm back in the same place? He could not answer that. That's when I left that doctor's office and never went back. I want to just stop there. I see some comments here, and Sharika, I'll let you chime in. But yeah, girl, that's where it landed. And I want to answer some of these questions, and I go back into how I got to where I am now. So Stephanie, I had one myomectomy in 2004, and they came back within a year. So things to note when it comes to fibroids, depending on how big they are, or how many you have, the more you have, the bigger they are, the more likely they're going to grow right after they're removed. So that is why it's so important to get to the root of it. And what other questions do we have? Best wishes. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Yeah. Okay. T-shirt queen. I just had fibroid surgery yesterday. Still in the hospital. Peace and blessings to your healing, T-shirt queen. I would recommend reaching out to me so that way we can prevent the situation again, because it's not, the common narrative is just that, oh, we're heroes because we went through this surgery of getting the fibroids removed, but there's no preventative education given, no awareness to how a lot of the havoc that is coming within our bodies is more so on an emotional and mental level. So we have to tap in to a lot of the havoc that we've created as not living in our true selves as a woman. So I just say that it's more than just getting them removed. We have to tap in further in order to get to the root of fibroids. Sharika,
Yeah.
feel free to chime in before I go into
Yeah,
that.
I'm just here listening to you. But what I get from all that you've said, if I were to put it in one word, it's wholeness. Wholeness. It's wholeness, whatever that word is, the W one.
Yeah.
So you have to look at your entire being, your entire
Yes.
well-being, mindset, physical, what you're eating. It's everything, right? It's not just one thing. So the doctors couldn't tell you what causes fibroid. And I know you've been at this for some time. So earlier you said it's caused by hormone imbalance, acidity, and I didn't get the third thing that you had said. What was the third thing?
Chronic inflammation.
Chronic inflammation. All right. So hormone imbalance, acidity, you spoke to some of the meats that you're eating, building up that acidity in your body. What causes the chronic inflammation? Well, that acidity would help with that as well. But if you could dive into some of those causes and how we prevent them in the first place, that would be great.
Absolutely. So that is a good segue to go from where I left off. So I left the doctor's office and I started to educate myself on what I didn't know. Now, I was in a place of just not presently there because I was still trying to digest what I've been told, knowing that these fibroids got bigger. They were pressing against my kidneys, affecting my bowel, bladder patterns. It was doing a lot. So I nearly was depressed, but I found the courage to still read, still do a lot of research and efforts to find a way, because I knew there had to be a way. I believed it. Not knowing, I didn't know what it was, but I knew there had to be a way. So I started to
Got
educate
it.
myself. I started to use my experience as doing a typical Western diet I knew that wasn't going to help. And that causes a lot of chronic
Yeah.
inflammation. A lot of what we're
Mm-hmm.
eating, you know, it's microwavable. You look at the back of the box, it's a book of ingredients, things that we can't even pronounce. The more processed it is, the more, you know, you look at the sugar, the fats, the type of food, the way that it's cooked, all of that adds to the nutrient dense in the food. And chronic inflammation can stem from food. It can stem from lack of sleep, right? Because your body has to work in overboard. It can stem from your thoughts. You're feeding your body, yourself, with negative thoughts. Oh, I can't do it. Like I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. You know, you know, what did I do? Asking, you know, what did I do wrong, and stuff like that. Those are all low frequency thoughts, and your body doesn't work well with those type of thoughts. It produces a very low type of energy that does not allow the different energy systems in your body to communicate with one another. And there's also chronic inflammation that can form from the environment you live in, whether it be things you put on your skin. So being in a state of havoc and a state of being where your body cannot be cultivated, where there is alignment. And if you are dealing with any disease or anything, your body's out of alignment. So
Yeah.
when it stays there for too long, like going through going through the bodybuilding industry, I was in there for 8 years, and then being able to witness my mom go through the pain and suffering. So I've been in this state of mind for a long time. Your body starts to work in a disconnected way, a
Yeah.
distorted way, and it starts to produce, whether it be overcompensation of one system, you know, it may be your central nervous system is overworked. So once one system is overworked, it takes away from other systems, like your reproductive system is not getting any attention. Your reproductive system is what houses the uterus. So there's a lot of robbing going on, and that'll put you in a state of chronic inflammation when it happens for a longer period of time. So that's what chronic inflammation stems from. So I nearly went into a state of questioning my existence on earth, because I was like, I was dealing with this alone. This is 5-6 years ago. We have, you know, some fibroid groups now, but just imagine 5-6 years ago, there weren't any. I was dealing with this alone, and no support, very shameful about it. I was like, man, I can't talk to anybody. What do I do? So I started to tap into Queen Afua. I started to tap into Jewel Pookrum, Joe Dispenza, and started to listen to them and their philosophies about quantum physics, about using your mind and body to heal. After so long, I started to form my own philosophy on healing and started to put those practices into place where I use workouts. I switch shit up where I connect the movements with breathing. So using movements that are going to stimulate the insides, help the digestive system work better, allow the pelvic floor to strengthen. I started to really tap into herbs, using the right herbs to help decrease the load off my liver. I started to do practices that allowed good thoughts in my mind, affirmations. I started to journal and eat food that allowed me to strengthen my immune system. But that all started with changing my belief system. I had to realize that if I put this work together, my only way is to shrink and eliminate fibroids. There's no other way. I have to do this. Just like I had that same belief system when I got on stage. So it already happened, right? I already surprised myself. I already knew that, you know what, I do have what it takes. So that belief system motivated me to stay on this track of doing these practices every day. And this is the practice that I formed, and now it's called the Womb Wellness Program. And after a year, Sharika, man, I had a crazy day where I was just, doing a lot of errands, running around. And I went up a flight of stairs, and I noticed when I got to the top, I was out of breath. There was a lot of pain that was coming through my abdomen and the sides of my waistline. It was like something was pulling. It's a pain that I've never experienced before. And I managed to get in the house and go lay down. And I took a very short nap, woke up, felt so much better. And I went to the bathroom, and I noticed that something like came out. It looked very transparent, white, opaque. It was about 4 or 5 centimeters in length, and I realized that, oh my gosh, is that a fibroid? And I didn't think anything of it. I just was like so distraught and just in my head, where after a couple of days, I realized that was a fibroid. Because if you go online, there's not much research about these stories, and it's done very intentional, that the belief of we can heal ourselves. And, we live in a society of power and control and oppression, and healthcare is a billion-dollar industry. So the goal is to keep you sick, right? The goal is to keep you sick, keep getting surgeries, keep getting on medication. So when it comes to herbs and healing, it's really important to be a part of a community of people, so that way you can see how this is really going down, and not relying on the internet, because the internet is going to show you what they want you to see. And I've never seen this story of being able to shrink and eliminate a fibroid. So I was like so gung-ho. I was like, man, if I can do this, just imagine how many other women I can help do the same thing. And that is when I birthed Fibroid Queen and my program. So that's what my program is. That's the blueprint of it. Doing unique practices that I help you create to help your body function as a unit, like you said earlier, Sharika, as a whole. And that includes giving you resources on herbal supplements. That includes helping you with fun workouts I created called the Womb Wellness Workouts. And these are not traditional workouts. This is not something you can find online. I create these where you are using your breath to connect your mind and body, to trick your nervous system, to allow your body to relax and decrease the cortisol levels that are making you stressed, or that are infiltrating your body when you are stressed out. And too much of that is really going to throw off the hormones. So taking the stress levels down, helping you with a meal plan of foods that are tasty, but also you tapping into the belief that if you continue to eat this way and believe that it's going to help you heal, you can make this a consistent lifestyle. We're not looking for a 30-day fitness challenge. We're looking for a lifestyle, healing for life. It never stops. And once women are ready to make that commitment, right, and invest in themselves through a consultation, that is when we can talk. I do a nursing assessment, because Sharika, what I've found is, and I'm sure you can relate, not everybody's ready for this journey. It can be very triggering for most people to know that, you know what, if I go get surgery, myomectomy, go through this hard surgery, and not knowing if I don't fix what got me here in the first place, I can come to having another surgery yet again because the fibroids grew back. And knowing that also most doctors don't talk about this. They don't even know that a lot of our lifestyle really determines our risk of disease. And we are doing the same things that our mama did, our grandmother did. So those generational behaviors stay within us, and we're ending up with the same diseases. And we keep saying, oh, it's hereditary. Well, if you keep saying that, that's what's going to happen to you. If you believe just because your mom had something, you're going to have it too, then that's on you. That's what you're going to keep believing, because these people keep telling you that, keep, having you set your mind to a path of disease. We have to start
Yeah.
unraveling that and saying that we have the power. We have the power to be a divine feminine being if we want to. Tapping into that womb intelligence activation and really um, writing out who we want to become. What do you want to, what is your legacy? What do you want to become in this lifestyle, in this lifetime as you're physically here? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Tapping into those hard questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Hmm.
Sharika, I know I can go all day.
I see that. I see that, and I get it completely. One other word that the first word that I think summed up some of what you said was wholeness, and then the next word was balance, and I think those two words are almost the same thing. But you said people are thinking that things are hereditary, something like that. That's the word.
Yes.
But something about DNA that I think is worth pointing out, right? DNA is rewritable. Most of the
Yeah.
things, so somebody's born genetically predetermined. Is that the word? Predestined or
Predisposition.
something. They're
Yeah.
born predisposition. That's the one. They're born genetically predispositioned to have a certain disease. Maybe
Yeah.
it was diabetes because 6 generations of grandparents had diabetes, and the first person had the disease, and nobody changed anything. So it continued to the next person. But what we don't know is that if we change our lifestyle, then we teach our DNA something else, and it adopts a different way of operating. And so by the time the third child is born, the third generation child is born, you have eliminated that, right? And just like that, it can come back again if they come back with the same kind of lifestyles. Listen to your body is something else that she said that I think is really important, because she didn't listen to her body for a long time until she noticed in that photograph what was going on, what was going on. But the most amazing thing that I've never heard anyone said is that they passed out a fibroid. I've never heard that before. When you said that, I was like, huh, you passed it out. So now it makes me want to ask you, you've worked with several women, hundreds of women. Has anyone else had this experience? And what are some of the testimonials that you've gotten from those people that you've worked with? What has have what have some of those women said about their experience and what they were going through and what happened after working with you using those unique methods that you applied?
Yeah, beautiful questions. So, testimonials can range from I had women who are able to manage their symptoms because you, the women, determine your results. I give you directions, but you actually have to drive there, right? So, it really is going to take a lot of effort from your mindset of your belief that it can happen. And then how much effort you're going to put into your healing journey. So I've had women that are managing symptoms where they often have delayed the surgery or not have to do any surgery to women that have actually shrunk and eliminated fibroids. I actually have an amazing testimony from my client Denise. It's on my feed right now. It's titled The Fibroid Fell Out. So she had a similar experience, and she had 8 fibroids where they passed through her body. She was able to describe them the same. So if they do pass, they have a very opaque white appearance. And I feel like a lot of women get that confused with blood clots, and that's totally different. So knowing that fibroids, once they're starved, once they're deprived, um, they have the, an element to them to allow it to pass out of the body. The body just kind of like disposes it, like you're doing having a bowel movement, like it just comes out because fibroids are waste. It's waste that accumulated that was not able to leave the body because the body was so stressed. The systems weren't working as they should. So being able to uh, allow the body to function appropriately through mindset, and this is part of my program foundation, is using tools that help you or empower you to think a certain way about yourself, about life. And we do that through mindset coaching. So this takes time, right? Secondly, is moving your body intentionally, right? It's nothing to do with HIIT workout. Great. But when you're stressed out, you're not eating the foods that you should be eating. Just, you have a lot going on with life. Going to do an exercise that's going to ramp your heart rate up may not be the best approach. So that is why wellness workouts are extremely beneficial, because it really allows you to connect with your inner self, right? Just like a marriage. If you are not on the same page with your partner, you guys don't see eye to eye, how is it going to be a long-lasting relationship? Well, you have to start with a relationship with yourself, right? So we have to deepen our relationship with ourselves, and that is something you do throughout the womb wellness workouts. And then also eating in a way that's going to strengthen your immune system to allow the body and the cells to do what they need to do, and help your energy levels, and also lower a lot of the things that I said as far as chronic inflammation, acidity, and achieve more hormonal balance. So in regards to shrinking and eliminating fibroids, it's possible. I've had many women be able to do that. Also, some women come because they're wanting to conceive, but they're in a place that they can manage their hormones, manage the symptoms of fibroids. They can be able to get their body stronger, so that way they're preparing to conceive, right? Not waiting and getting a myomectomy if it's not necessary, right? Myomectomy to remove the fibroids, because with that becomes scar tissue, right? Once you go in, open up the uterus, cut on it, you got scar tissue. That decreases your opportunity of conception, of pregnancy. So
And
you're
that's
going
another
one.
issue again.
Yes, yes. You have that issue again. 2, 3 times going in to the uterus and cutting it up. It's not giving results when it comes to pregnancy and just longevity. So I think a lot of what we have with the medical system is really preparing us to be on assembly line for a hysterectomy. So if we don't address these lifestyle things, these lifestyle factors, we will be there. So through my program, you determine what you want. You want to shrink fibroids, we get you on a plan to do that. You have to do the work. You do the work, it's bound to happen. Because at the end of the day, you know what? Research or not, disease cannot live in a harmonized and a balanced body. Disease cannot live there. That's what sets us apart from women who have fibroids and women who don't. They're in alignment with their bodies. Their bodies are functioning as a whole. So in regards to how fibroids can grow and thrive is that disconnection, and it allows waste to build up because the systems are not working on the same page. So we need to see that discernment between those that have fibroids and those that don't, and really start thinking about using our mindset to say, you know what, if the medical system does not know what causes fibroids, but you want to tell me you're going to give me a pill or surgery that's only going to give me temporary results in order to just possibly be back in the situation again, what does that leave me? So we have to be very intentional on what we do, and not just do because my doctor told me to do that. We have to really know what's best for ourselves, and you direct what you want to happen versus, it
Yeah.
being, oh, the doctor said I should do that, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Again, I want to emphasize how important, because I know how important wellness is, especially mentally, because we really create our entire world by just thinking. We think everything that we experience into being. And some people might say, no, this is horrible. I am in pain. I am this, I am that. Why would I think my way into doing this? But everything starts with a thought. Every single thing begins with a thought. So I just want to emphasize how important the mindset is, the mental process is, the emotional balance is, the things that you feel, how important all of that is. So check yourself often and see where you are with that. Now, care for the uterus. If you could dial that down or pinpoint exactly what care for the uterus is, because I can't say that I've heard this anywhere. Maybe I'm not listening in the right circles, but exactly what is care for the uterus? This is not something that you hear often. And we know how important the uterus is. Otherwise, none of us wouldn't, any of us wouldn't be here if there was no uterus. So, what is care for the uterus?
Yeah, care for the uterus is a term that describes staying within balance from the external environment and our internal environment. As women, we are, again, innately born with certain elements that comes with being a feminine. For one, we're nurturers, right? Number two, we birth not only babies, but ideas. We birth a
Yeah.
foundation, we birth a home.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a balance of feminine and masculine energy. We're just not just one, but we have the balance of both. And the
Mm-hmm.
society has conditioned most of us women to be a certain way that goes against those innate elements that we were given, and it goes against nature. So, with that being said, we are, sometimes maybe working in an environment where we have to be masculine. You're a manager of so many people. You're the only woman, right? And you have to be this certain way. You have to dress like this. Your parents taught you to always be strong. Doesn't matter if you are experiencing stress, just keep going. I remember my parents say, you got to work hard. You got to work hard. And their definition of working hard is completely different from mine now. Their definition literally got me sick, because I'm thinking I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that because I got to work hard. But that's not helping me. So when it comes to caring for the uterus, you want to do things that put you in a mindset, put your body in a state of balance, where you have a practice where, sometimes you have stressful moments, but you have a way to release it. What is that for you? Is it working out? Is it doing a wellness workout? Is it doing something creative, drawing? Is it taking a vacation? Right? So having that give and take, so that way your cup is always full. Putting yourself first, learning how to say no and when to say no, learning to delegate, learning to know what you want in life. Who are you? Who do you want to become? What's your legacy? When you walk into a home, you have your bed missing, you don't have furniture, your home, you know, there's certain parts that make up your home, right? So when you are lacking in sleep, right? You only have 3 hours of sleep, you're not eating what you need to eat, your home is not a home, right? And we have to replicate that, because as women, especially Black women, African women, we're the strongest women ever, no matter what anybody says. We're the strongest women ever, and we're the most powerful. But there's been things put in our environment intentionally to break us down. And if you don't tap into your power, if you don't realize who you are and why you're here, who you want to become, you will be mindlessly subjected to what everybody wants you to be. If you don't have a belief system, society, social media will give you one. So that is tapping into your womb power, is knowing who you are as a Black woman, who you're here to become. And it's just, this is something that all women can take in. But I feel that when it comes to fibroids, we are the most vulnerable.
Seven.
Up to most Black women are
Yeah.
with fibroids.
I love everything that you've just said. And if I were to sum it up, I would say it's self-love and care. So it's a lot of us women where the society has gotten to a stage now where we are basically doing everything that men do. And not that we're not capable, but I think it overexerts our natural energy and we become more male than we are female. A lot of, even this morning, I was I was at the gym and it's so sad that the femininity of a woman becomes a question. So it's, is she feminine? You know, how can you be a woman and somebody's asking you, are you feminine? Because so many women are more masculine than they're feminine. So self-love and care, understanding yourself and your role in society. Not that you can't achieve things, but then you don't have to become a masculine person in order to do that. Play in your divine role as a woman. Make your divinity, your femininity, your glory, your beauty, your strength. Let that be the place from which you thrive, instead of thriving to be something that you are not. So, Phyllis, we're winding down, we're running out of time. If you could give three tips on how, three simple tips, nothing complex, that women, especially if they are from a background where people in their family has had experiences with fibroids, if you could give three tips, something to do with mindset, something to do with eating habits, and something to do with movement, what would those three things be as a early preventative method? Just something to practice every day.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I want to add just one last thing to what you said is I brought up the home analogy. So take care of your home. Take care of you. You know, have your furniture, have your bed, get your sleep, have your refrigerator, your healthy food, take care of home. When it comes to three simple things you can do is one, releasing any thoughts, any habits that has not helped you. You were always told you had to be this way, you had to do it this way. The doctor says this is your only option. Well, you know, that's their belief. And that their belief does not have to be yours. So take out a piece of paper, record yourself, and start to let out, you know, what has been bothering you, what has gotten in the way of you being able to move from this situation, because your habits, actions, your thoughts have landed you here and you're not happy here. So you have to go back to those things to say, where's the disconnection? Let's start there, right? Mindset. Number two, when it comes to movement and coming from the bodybuilding world and personal training, I just realized the standard traditional way of working out does not cater to us women. It doesn't cater to our pelvic floor. You know, this constant jumping up and down, high intensity workouts, running profusely, you know, that's great. But when you're dealing with stress outside of the gym, you're dealing with relationship issues, other things that are going on, you're pulling a lot from your body. And it really requires some intention on the way you move. So for starters, getting out of your environment and taking a walk. I would do movements to help you move the middle of your body, because there is a lot of circulation that is stagnant in the middle of your body, because as women, we collect a lot of thoughts, people's energies, emotions that have not been released will stay stuck in the middle of your body. So doing things to move around would really help. And I would say when it comes to food, it's to cut back on what's not helping you. And for most part, coffee, dairy, you know, go with dairy free. If you eat meat, you have the belief that you have to eat meat with every meal. I would cut back a little bit. Just give your digestive system an opportunity to rest, as well as drinking more water, and having your plate be mostly consumed with greens and vegetables, and split up the amount of carbs that you have, because most of us are eating overabundance of carbs, and that is just turning it to sugar. And then that is later affecting our hormonal balance in our bodies. And you're ready to take it to the next level. Like, you've done that. You've tried it, you've done it. Then whether you're looking to eliminate fibroids or get back in shape, for long-term results, as I just told you my story of shrinking and eliminating fibroids, if I can do it,
Quiet
you
down.
can do it too. So If that is you, you're ready to move to the next level, schedule a consultation. The link is in my bio at Fibroid Queen. And I will sit with you. We go through a nursing assessment. We go through what you are needing to do, what you want to do, meal plans, workout plan, mindset coaching, having that helping hand of someone that can relate to you and someone that has been through your journey. I have a medical background. I've been a patient. I've been a medical practitioner. I've been in many different positions as an African woman to know that it's possible to get your power back if you believe. So this consultation is a start if you're ready to invest and take it to the next level. If otherwise, feel free to follow me at Fibroid Queen, do those tips I just shared. And, you know, if you look through my feed, you can see different things you can do. But it's going to take for you to make that investment if you want more personalized information, right? Because you don't want to be taking herbs, right? That, you know, herbs are going to help you, but you want to make sure you're taking the right herbs, right? You know, you saw this woman
Yeah.
online taking herbs. You're not
So
going to take
take
those
some herbs.
herbs.
So you just take some herbs.
It takes some herbs, right? Right. You want the right guidance,
Yeah,
right? You want to know
definitely,
when to
definitely.
do, you want to know when to do yoni steam. You want to know when to do castor oil packs. You want to know when to do these natural remedies, but you need that guidance. And I'm here. So feel free to send me a DM for any
But
questions.
Phyllis, I'm pretty sure that we probably need to have a second show because we need to talk about all of those yoni steams and things. But and if you could sum up in 1 minute what you could say to somebody who is struggling right now with fibroids, they're they've done surgeries, probably come back, or maybe they're preparing for surgery, and you could give them a hopeful thought, what would that be?
Hey, Sean, I would say my hopeful thought to you is you can do it if you believe you can. I feel like a lot of this havoc with fibroids, it's an emotional, mental disconnection. It's not a physical or fibroids are monsters. Fibroids are reminders that sis, we got to change something, right? Fibroids are reminders, and that's what Fibroid Queen is. It's a affirmation for me to always treat myself like a queen. Always make sure my cup is full before I start, you know, moving on to others. The better I can invest in myself, the better I am for others. So if you're listening right now, write down, you know, who you want to become and start putting those habits in place that allow you to be that person. This is an emotional, mental thing, right? And we're not being told that. So let's keep the fibroids away for good. Let's get on the right resources that allow your body to work as a whole unit so everyone's on the same page. And that will prevent fibroids from returning again. And if I can do it, you can. And if you need that support and guidance for those directions to get there, schedule consultation with me at Fibroid Queen.
Oh my gosh, this was an amazing conversation. I hope that you guys learned a ton. I certainly did. I do not have fibroids, nor do I have anyone whom I'm close to that has fibroids. But since I've put up the post, I've had a number of requests for this video. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. And thank you guys so much for joining me here today. It was lovely to have you here. Thank you for the support. I'm here every Thursday. So if you are interested in learning about other amazing things, I go from all kinds of topic. I'm searching for truth and I want to share that with other people. So I go on many different things. It's all about personal development, exploration, finding truth, learning something different, and learning things like this that we learned here today, a natural way to maybe for you pass out fibroids, like literally pass it out as if you were on your period, right? Who doesn't want that without surgery or any of those crazy things? So those are the things that I dive into here when I come on here on Thursday. So if you're interested, give me a follow and look forward to more amazing conversations. And something that was echoed here today is the way we think. The way we think, the way we think, the way we think, our mindset, our headspace is the most important thing. And if you are struggling with fibroids, know that the way you think about it, the way you think your struggle can be, your reaction to your symptoms, all of that matters. Trust me, it matters, it matters, it matters, because we're creating our experience every day. And if you can decide that when something is going wrong, you're going to react to it differently, and if your brain thinks it's no big deal, it's going to make it no big deal. That's how powerful each and every single one of us. That's why they can give people fake pills and they still get better, right? There are so many researches where they show where they use the fake pill and it works because of the power of the mind. So I think that's the most important thing that was echoed here today. Watch your thought process, because that one thought can lead you to chaos or it can lead you to joy. This has been an amazing conversation today. I loved it. Thank you guys again so much for coming out. My name once more is Sharika Swaby, and you've been watching Becoming Consciousness with Sharika, where spirits go to find their souls. Have yourself a beautiful rest of Thursday and week and holiday if I don't see you again.